My friends, and welcome back to another episode of Phoenix TV with your host, Shakti. If you're brand new, I am so glad that you're here. Today's episode is going to rock your world as I introduce you into this conversation of color analysis and why, as a business owner, you should be very interested in this conversation. Before we get started, if you're brand new, welcome, hang around, subscribe. You're going to find a ton of videos on here. If you're a business owner looking to align the strategies in your business with your energy, you know the importance of being in alignment with the work that you do, but you also want to be a powerful business owner in the world, and you want to honor those two sides of you. This is a space you want to hang out. If you're returning, welcome back. I'm so glad that you're here. Now, let me preface this conversation by saying that color analysis was something that came onto my radar not that long ago. And before we dive into the actual footage of my color analysis experience, driving there, once I was there, what happened, and then my recap at the end of my results and what my recommendations are, I want to talk about how, as a business owner, your presentation is really, really important. And I know that we're in an era where a lot of the younger generations are just like, I'm just a free spirit and I just want to hang out in the world and vibe. And I get that. But you also need to understand that your presentation leads the way. And if you want clients and customers to purchase and give you money and probably potentially thousands and thousands of dollars for your services, then you need to look like someone who can really hold that kind of container and hold that kind of value. And this video is going to give you one sliver of insight into how you can increase your appearance and increase your presentation and stand out more than ever. So let's get into it. All right, so color analysis came into the forefront of my mind after I did a series of branding photos, which I'll show here. And I was kind of going through the film of branding photos with a group of friends at a birthday dinner. And one of the photos in particular, one of the friends who was there said, that's not really your color. It kind of washes you out. I think you're probably a winter palette, a dark winter palette is what she said. And that's just not in it. It's too warm. And I was like, what? And then she, she's into branding also, and she has an entire makeup line. And she was like, I just really think that, these colors work better. That kind of opened up the door to what that could mean. Now, I had noticed in my life that there are certain things that I wear that look awesome, and then other things that I wear that look dead. But I hadn't really realized that there was a whole science behind it that could really be beneficial for me to learn from. As it turns out, full circle moment, months and months and months prior to that situation, I had actually met someone who was a professional color seasons analyst. I don't even know what they call themselves, but that's what she does for a living. And I had kept her name kind of in the back of my mind, and I was like, oh, that'd be so cool to do. Well, I finally booked that appointment. And here's why I booked it. So very soon coming, I will have my very first published book coming out into the world. It's called Aloud: How to Work with Your Emotions and Stop Ruining Your Own Life. And I'm really excited about it. This book is really a fantastic practical guide to help you navigate difficult emotional experiences so that you can integrate the emotions and not let it control your reality. Because the truth is that when we don't handle emotion, it does end up controlling our experience of reality. And because I'm writing this book and I want to be on more stages talking about this, the importance of emotional resilience, especially as a leader in a CEO capacity. I was like, I want to look my best. I want to be showing up to these things and really looking strong and powerful and bright in all these things. So that was really kind of like the thing that pushed me over the edge to finally book that appointment and have someone sit with me for a solid 2 hours and, talk to me about all the things. And at the end of this video, I will actually share a wrap up of my results and how I am planning to work with my results. But this consultation covers everything from the clothes colors that you look best in, to the jewelry tones that you look best in, to cosmetics. And all of it was very, very helpful. So yeah, let's dive into that footage. I am headed to a very exciting appointment with a practitioner of color analysis for a company called House of Color. Now, color analysis, if you're not familiar with it, it's been around since the 50s. And this is the entire premise and the idea that there are natural colors and tonalities that are better suited for us, for our skin tone, that bring out the natural beauty of us. I became really fascinated with color analysis after I had a branding photo shoot, and I was kind of going through all the photos, and most of the photos looked really sharp and beautiful. And then there were some of the photos where I was wearing a particular sweater where I just looked kind of washed out and I didn't really know what was going on. And then a friend of mine made this comment, like, I don't really think that color is in your palette. To me, you look more like a winter. This is like her brief assumption. Might want to look into those colors. And so I did. And that kind of started me down this rabbit hole of looking at what is color analysis and how does it actually work? And I became fascinated by it. I am lucky that I have a practitioner of it close by. So I'm going to go spend 2 hours with her today, and she's going to let me film whatever she can about the experience and process so that I can share it with you. I'm going barefaced. I'm not wearing any cosmetic or any jewelry or anything so as to not interfere with the natural colors of my hair, my skin. So let's go find out. I'm almost there. I just wanted to mention some helpful things that I brought with me to this analysis. So if you book a color analysis, it is 2 hours and it is very comprehensive. Some things I brought with me were jewelry that I usually wear. I actually brought silver and gold jewelry so that we could compare what I usually wear and see it in, proper lighting, how it looks against my skin. I also brought the cosmetics I usually wear so that we could compare what I'm currently wearing with the recommendations they're going to make, because they will also make recommendations on cosmetics. So they will help you figure out, obviously, like the clothes and the colors that look best, but the jewelry tone that looks best, the makeup that looks best. So it's helpful if you bring with you what you are currently using so that they can compare what you're currently using and tell you why, yes, it does work for you, or why it doesn't, and how you have to change it in order to optimize your cosmetic or jewelry experience. So these are all the things that they cover in their session. It is a 2-hour session. It's going to be quite lengthy. So I am so excited to get started. I have arrived and meeting Natalie. Here is the House of Color logo. I am so excited to get started. Let's go. So here is Natalie, and we just finished my actual analysis, and we have discovered that I am in fact a winter, which was actually both of our guesses. So for the sake of this video, we are just going to show you what that looks like. Like, how did we come to that conclusion? We're going to give you an example of what warm colors look like against my skin versus cool, which I am. Yeah. You can see the difference. And then there's 2 different cools that I could be, which was winter or summer. And we're going to show you the difference between those 2 so you can see just exactly how much color affects.
So I'm going to go ahead and put a cool green on you.
Okay.
Take it in, and we're going to look up and see what happens. So what we don't want to see, we don't want to see colors that make you go tired and look unhealthy. And here's this warm green. And when I switch it off, there's that cool green. So when we looked at the warm green on you, it just went heavy on you, and we don't want that for you.
Yeah.
We want health, clear, beautiful skin. So the cool green is the winner in this one. And then we went through the process of trying to identify whether you are a summer or winter, because you're not an autumn or a spring.
Definitely not.
So let's do in between summer and
So what I learned about the difference between winter and summer is that winter is bright and summer is more muted. Natalie was explaining. So then this is the difference. It's what looks better on your skin, more muted version of the color or a brighter version of the color.
So here is a winter's pink. So here is a summer color.
I just went pale. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't even see just how pale I went, but I can
It just made your features disappear, and it just went heavy on you. So let me switch it off. And now we have the winter color, and it just creates overall health, and it just brightens.
Wild.
And you could just see how your eyes pop, your lips have a beautiful, healthy tone. Everything about this color is fantastic.
Amazing.
Yes. This wonderful color fan, which is going to be your new shopping buddy. Notice the screw on this is intentional to be a white metal. So that's your best metal.
Oh, that's
and
a good
then
reminder.
The best way to use your color fan is to fan it out you have keywords: clear, bright, vivid, icy, and have high contrast.
Okay.
So the best way to use your color fan is to fan it out. You have 36 fabric swatches. So you don't want to treat it like paint swatches. You can, but the overall, what you're looking for is color harmony. Here I've grabbed fuchsia, perfect match. That's great. However, if you did that, you're going to limit yourself to 36 colors. You're looking for color harmony, and you can see that's all in harmony.
Okay.
And as I spin it around, here you have autumn. You can see how that clashes. Here we have summer. It's okay, but it clashes.
There is clashing, yeah.
And then here we are to spring. They're bright, but they're warm.
Yes.
We have a clash.
Yep.
And then back to winter.
Yep.
Also in the color fan, you have these things in the back, which is the other season's keywords and just a snapshot of their palette to help identify what's in your palette.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So that was the footage that I captured for my color analysis experience. And as you've probably seen through the draping videos, I am a dark winter palette. Both myself and my analyst were correct about our guess. That was our immediate guess when I walked in, and she was right. I'm particularly happy about that because that means I get to keep black in my wardrobe, which is like one of my favorite colors, and it's one of my power colors. So I was like, yes, black. It's not in any other season. So if you're not a dark winter or a winter in general and you're wearing black, probably you have a better color for you than black. But all of that is something that they can help you with. Now, some really helpful things that I walked away with: a color swatch that she handed me, which you also saw in the video, so that when you're shopping, you have a color kind of experiment that you can play with when you're looking at clothing. It's much better if you can use it shopping in person, but if you're shopping online, you can get pretty close. Also a makeup guide that was super, super helpful for the best tones that, you can wear, from blush to lips to eyeshadow and eyebrows and all the things. Now, here are a couple of things that I did after my appointment to help me with that integration of that experience into my life. The first one is I didn't really understand what it meant to be cool toned. As a winter, I have cool undertones, and I didn't know what that meant in terms of like makeup. Like, what does a cool lip look like? What does a cool cheek look like? Eyeshadow. So I actually went to Ulta and I asked, is there anybody here who really understands like color analysis and cool warm tones? And sure enough, there is someone there. Likely there will be where you are too. And I had a conversation with them and they showed me all these different palettes for eyeshadow that fall under the cool tones. And that was very helpful. I ended up grabbing one of those palettes and it was like all of the mattes that I love. And now I understand what neutral in terms of eye looks like for someone that's more cool toned. I also did a lot of research on YouTube about the difference between cool colors and warm colors. I actually watched a ton of videos from painters, artists, who were kind of talking about the basis of the colors. Very simply put, cool colors will always have like a bluish undertone to them. So the red will be more on the purplish undertone side. The pinks will also be slightly more purple-ish. The blushes also. Whereas warm tones have a more yellow undertone to them. That's what makes them warm. So it's like a red orange, right? Or a rust color. That's a warm red versus a cool red. So I spent a little bit of time just understanding the undertones of the colors so that I could be better at finding cosmetics that worked for me. And also when you're shopping for clothes, you have a swatch that you're given a lot of times when you do these experiences. But if you understand how to look at a color and detect the undertone of that color, that's going to help you a ton. Because, for example, winter and summer are both considered cool seasons, right? The summer has very similar colors to the winter, except they're more muted versus winter, which is more bright. Okay, so if you understand undertones, just what's warm and what's cool, you're immediately likely gonna pick something that works for you at least 50% of the time. So for me, understanding cool versus warm was actually the biggest thing that I had to learn, because that allowed me to immediately eliminate 2 seasons from my palette. If I can tell what's cool and what's warm, then I know I won't be buying something that's in the fall palette or in the spring palette, because those are warm tones, right? Warm seasons. So I just immediately eliminate those. So just knowing what cool versus warm really looks like in terms of clothing, but also makeup is very helpful and will most of the time get you in the ballpark of where you need to be. Conversely, if you understand what warm and cool is and you're on the warm side, it'll eliminate all the cool ones. So you don't have to even live on that kind of side of the field in terms of cosmetics or clothing, right? So those are the two things that I implemented. I did also start wearing way more cool tone jewelry, so silvers, white golds, things like this. I do have some gold jewelry. I didn't run out and get rid of everything, but I did eliminate things from my closet that number one, I wasn't really wearing that often, or number two, I knew that when I put them on, it washed me out. And as my analyst said, the idea is not that you're gonna run into your closet and throw everything away that doesn't suit you, but if you really are on a journey to wanna look your best, then making the effort to at least remove the pieces that you definitely know wash you out and don't look your best. So for example, in my closet, I have items that are more muted tones, so they wouldn't be considered winter, they would be considered a summer, but they don't look terrible on me. I just don't look my best. So those pieces I'm actually keeping because there are things that I would wear around the house or casually and not necessarily on a stage, so it doesn't really matter. They're still in that cool vibe, and so I can still wear them, right? And look decent. But if I'm going to get on a stage and give a presentation, I'm going to be sure to be wearing my power colors. I'm going to be sure to be wearing colors that really make my features stand out and make me look really strong, right? So that's how you want to be able to use this kind of information. If you go through someone like Natalie and House of Color, they also give you a rating. They rate your best colors. They give you your like 12 power colors that are like your best, and then rate the other ones, the other in the 36 group, like kind of okay to not your best necessarily, right? You don't have to use all the colors that you're given. You just know the best ones for when you really need them. You want to wear that one dress to that one event, or you want to give that one presentation. So for me, the experience was super invaluable. It's something I'm going to be able to use for the rest of my life, and I'm actually very excited about that. And if you are a business owner that wants to upgrade your brand and upgrade your presentation, this is the kind of service that really does that for you. It really allows you to see yourself through a new lens, and you'd be amazed if you're someone who's camera shy and hasn't taken those branding photos because you don't like the way you look on camera. I totally get that. But what these colors do, your best colors, just make you stand out. They make you even more beautiful and effortlessly without you having to do too much. And to me, that's like a magic trick. Like, it's so epic. So if you've been considering having this kind of a service, do it. It's a great way to pamper yourself. It's a great way to love on yourself, to find your natural beauty, and in many ways to validate your natural beauty. And I think that's probably my favorite thing about this kind of experience, is that it definitely felt that way. So if you have any questions about my experience, my results, or how I'm using this color analysis that I did, leave them in the comments. Have you done this? Let me know, like, what was your experience and how did that change the way that you dress or look at yourself or present yourself during events? I'd love to hear all about your experiences below. And if you are a business owner that is really wanting to up-level their brand in general, not just visually with something like this, but your messaging, your presentation, you love what you do, but your business is kind of a mess behind the scenes, and you really need guidance to get it organized, that's what I do. So go ahead and book a free strategy call with me. Let's get in touch and let's see how I can support you in growing your dream so that it can continue to blossom and bless the world with your gifts. All right, my friends, until we meet again, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit the bell, and I will see you next time.